Thank you. A swing to the left in the battleground state of Michigan. CBS News projects progressive candidate Abdul El-Sayed defeated four-term moderate Congresswoman Haley Stevens for the Democratic Senate nomination. This is a huge win for the progressive wing of that party ahead of November's midterms. So a lot to talk about because we will be talking about it for the next several months. Live to CBS News Executive Director for White House and Politics, Fin Gómez. Good to see you, Fin. Some see this race as a must-win for Democrats if they are to seize the balance of power in the Senate. What are you seeing?
I think they're not far off. I mean, look, this is one of the most consequential races in the country because Michigan, because it essentially is a must-win. If Democrats want any realistic path to a Senate majority, El-Sayed's victory is also a major statement, I think, about where the Democratic primary voters are right now. He defeated an establishment-backed four-term member of Congress despite being outspent 9-1. I think just underscoring, I think, the strength of the party's progressive momentum right now, especially within this race. But I do think that, look, Senator Schumer said that they need to net 4 Republican-held seats to win back the Senate. This is currently held by Democrats. It's in the Democratic column. It does become harder. If they lose this race, they have to look at other races to try to make up for that. So I think if you have to look at Texas, you have to look at Iowa, you have to look at Ohio, potentially much more difficult paths. So it's crucial for Democrats' chances in winning in November. This is a top race. But now, the focus does pivot to November. El-Sayed does face Mike Rogers, who is a formidable candidate, and it's expected to be one of the top, most premier Senate battlegrounds. I think Republicans are already arguing that his progressive positions make this progressive populace more beatable, while Democrats tell me that they think that they can unify the party after this bruising primary, El-Sayed versus Stevens, and keep this critical seat in their column. It's going to be a top race, Reed, and all eyes are on Michigan.
Yeah, well, if last night the drumbeat was the Democratic primary, now the drumbeat, of course, is that El-Sayed-Rogers matchup. We just heard from that candidate a moment ago. Let's listen to it and then talk about it on the other side. Let's go.
I never in my lifetime, thought I would be running against a guy who believed that America deserved 9/11. I'm telling you, this is about the heart and soul of our country. The whole country is looking at us here in Michigan. They're looking at you. And they're hoping we do everything that we can do together to make sure that we stop this in its tracks. You cannot have an anti-American 9/11 America's fault candidate win an election, and I don't care where it is, but we're not going to let it happen here in Michigan.
Okay, so he went for the political jugular. He went for 9/11. Can we expect to see more of that narrative? Is that going to be the #1 card that he will play and others who support him will play?
Yeah, look, it's day one. And I think that this is like what you're getting is a tease, a preview of how bitter and acrimonious this race is going to be, Reed. We have seen some ads already. El-Sayed talked about this during his press conference, some ads showcasing his full name. It kind of like, how the president uses Barack Hussein Obama to sort of signify a difference, a separation from sort of this, of the United States, something foreign, something outside of the scope of the United States, if you will, something foreign, right? And I think that will be a way to paint the picture, to frame the debate. It's going to get ugly, and I think you are kind of seeing that already. I think it's going to, you did also see El-Sayed go after Rogers in his press conference earlier today, attack him for his neocon perspectives, he says, and how he's essentially a carpetbagger after leaving Congress. He moved to Florida, calling him a Florida man, and it's day one, Reed. So this type of rhetoric, these type of tactics, I think it's only going to get worse as we continue forward in this race. We have 90 days, Reed, as from today. There are 90 days until the November 3rd election, and this, because of the high stakes component of this race, I think you're going to see a lot more of this.
We know it's been a very long 24 hours for you, Finn, as one of our leaders at CBS News. You have your eye on the other races. What themes, headlines came out of last night in the other races?
Yeah, look, I've only slept an hour and a half, so you're going to have to forgive me if I'm a little slow at times here. But look, there are some significant races outside of the Michigan Senate race that really drew our attention and I think are significant. Look, the two of the races that really stood out to me, one was that progressive Will Lawrence. He's a 35-year-old Lansing organizer, a member of the Democratic Socialists, won his race in an upset win over two centrist candidates, former ambassador to Ukraine and a retired Navy SEAL. He was endorsed by progressive leaders. He was endorsed by Senator Bernie Sanders. He centered his campaign against data centers, which is a big issue, as you know, Reed, this cycle, and corporate outside money, PAC money. What happened here, it was really a major factor in this race, is that the establishment vote really split clean down the middle between these two more moderate contenders, allowing for him to really own that left progressive lane and leading him to that upset win last night. He now faces Republican incumbent Tom Barrett. It was rated a toss-up race prior to Election Day. I did speak to some national Democrats who told me flat out that they are worried that this race could get a lot harder for them to flip with Lawrence on the ballot now. Remember, this is a district that Trump won in 2024 by only 1 point. So it's a very purple district, if you will. So the outcome, according to them, likely turns a toss-up into a tough pickup opportunity for Democrats. I'm also in Missouri. Conversely, Congressman, there's this big rematch of 2024. Congressman Wesley Bell defeated former Congresswoman Cori Bush, a progressive, in their Democratic primary rematch. This was one of the most expensive primaries in Missouri this cycle. About $9 million, $8.5, somewhere around there, was spent, and the overwhelming amount of it was spent against Bush, including from the pro-Israel group AIPAC. It was a big setback, though, for one of the party's most prominent progressive voices. She lost 2 years ago by about 5 points. She was the incumbent then. This time around, she lost by double digits, 20 points more than that. So it was a big loss for the progressive movement, if you will. That more of a mixed results. Yes, they won with El-Sayed, but they lost in some key races like this one. Reed.
All right, cue the midterm matchups, and Finny, go to bed. Thank you so much, my friend. Take care. See you later.